The screech of tires on wet asphalt ripped through the night like a scream I couldn't unhear. Rain hammered the windshield of my beat-up Honda as I slammed on the brakes too late, my front bumper kissing the tail of the sleek black Audi ahead with a jolt that snapped my neck forward. In the rear view, I caught a glimpse of the driver's face, sharp jaw, eyes like storm clouds, before he flung his door open and stormed back, fury etched in every line of his soaked button-down. "You've got to be kidding me," he snarled, yanking my door open despite the downpour, water dripping from his dark hair like tears he wouldn't shed. "Do you even know how to drive in this city? Or are you just auditioning for a demolition derby?" I stumbled out, heart pounding not just from the crash but from the way his voice cut through the storm. Raw, commanding, alive with a fire that made my pulse stutter. Alexander Hayes, I learned later, was the kind of man who owned rooms before he even entered them. That night, under the flickering street lamp on a desolate stretch of West Side Highway, he owned me without trying. The rain didn't let up as we exchanged insurance cards under the inadequate shelter of my hood, our fingers brushing in a spark that had nothing to do with static electricity. I was Mason Riley, 27, a graphic designer scraping by in a shoebox apartment in Brooklyn, the kind of guy who blended into coffee shop crowds with my faded jeans and ironic band tees. Alexander, he was the opposite, 31, a rising star at a boutique law firm in Midtown, all tailored suits and quiet confidence that screamed old money, even if he swore he was self-made. His card was crisp, embossed gold lettering that felt like a promise of complications I didn't need. "Look, man, I'm sorry," I muttered, shoving wet hair out of my eyes, my voice smaller than I wanted. The city wailed around us, horns blaring from the bridge, sirens wailing in the distance, like New York was mocking my screw-up. "It was an accident. I'll cover whatever." He paused, rain sluicing down his collar, and for a beat, his gaze softened, tracing my face like he was memorizing it. "Yeah, well, accidents happen. But this one's got potential for a hell of a story." There was a half-smile tugging at his lips, the kind that disarmed you before you realized you'd been hit. He glanced at my car, a relic from my college days with more dents than memories, then back at me. "You got a ride home from here? Tow truck's gonna take forever in this mess." I shrugged, playing it cool even as my stomach twisted. "Subway's a block away. I'll manage." The station was flooded half the time in storms like this, and I was already soaked to the bone, shivering in my thin jacket. Alexander sighed, that sound heavy with the weight of decisions he hadn't meant to make tonight. "Screw that. My place is 5 minutes uptown. Dry clothes, coffee. Least I can do before we lawyer up over fender benders." He said it like it was nothing, but his eyes held mine a second too long, a challenge wrapped in concern. I should have said no. Walked away into the neon-drenched night, let the universe's crappy timing fade into another regret. But something in his voice, the unspoken loneliness echoing my own, pulled me in. "All right," I said, climbing into his passenger seat, the leather warm and foreign against my skin. "Lead the way." His apartment was a revelation. A pre-war loft in Chelsea with exposed brick walls and floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Hudson like a painting. No clutter, just minimalist lines, leather sectional, abstract art that probably cost more than my yearly rent, a kitchen island gleaming under pendant lights. He tossed me a towel and a spare Henley from his closet, the fabric soft and smelling faintly of cedar and him. Showers down the hall. "I'll call the shops tomorrow." Steam filled the bathroom as I stripped, the hot water a balm against the chill clinging to my bones. I caught my reflection in the fogged mirror, lean build from weekend runs in Prospect Park. Hazel eyes shadowed by too many late nights chasing deadlines. What the hell was I doing here? This guy could sue me into oblivion. Instead, he was playing host like we'd known each other for years. When I emerged, hair damp and his shirt hanging loose on my frame, Alexander was at the island, pouring 2 glasses of bourbon neat. The storm raged outside, lightning cracking like applause. "Feel human again?" he asked, sliding one over, his tie loosened, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with quiet strength. "Better than human." "Thanks." I took a sip, the burn grounding me. We talked then, easy at first, about the idiocy of Manhattan traffic, how he'd moved here from Philly 5 years back chasing partnerships and anonymity. But the liquor loosened tongues, and soon we were trading war stories. My failed attempt at art school in Chicago before fleeing to New York for real life. His endless hours defending white-collar crooks who reminded him too much of his absent dad. "You're not what I expected," he said after a while, leaning against the counter, glass dangling from his fingers. His eyes were darker now, the storm's reflection dancing in them. "Most guys would have bolted after a crash like that." I laughed, a low rumble that surprised me. "Most guys aren't idiots who rear-end Otis in the rain." Our knees brushed under the island, accidental but electric. Neither of us moved. The air thickened, charged like the sky outside. He set his glass down, slow, deliberate, and crossed the space between us in 2 steps. "Mason," he murmured, my name a question on his lips. His hand cupped my jaw, thumb tracing the stubble there, and I froze, not from fear, but from the raw want surging through me. I'd dated women in college, checked all the boxes, but this felt like coming home after a lifetime of wrong turns. I leaned in first, crashing our mouths together with the same recklessness that had totaled his bumper. He tasted like bourbon and rain, his groan vibrating against my chest as he backed me against the fridge, hands fisting in his shirt. It was messy, urgent, all teeth and tongues, the kind of kiss that rewrote your history in one breath. Clothes hit the floor in a trail to his bedroom, the city lights painting our skin in silver and shadow. We tumbled onto his king-sized bed, sheets cool against fevered skin. Alexander was everywhere, lips on my neck, fingers mapping the dips of my ribs, whispering my name like a prayer. "God, Mason, you feel..." He didn't finish, just pulled me closer, our bodies aligning in a rhythm that drowned out the thunder. It wasn't just sex. It was unraveling, 2 strangers shedding armor under the weight of unexpected gravity. He moved with a tenderness that belied his sharp edges, eyes locked on mine as if daring me to look away, to pretend this wasn't seismic. After, we lay tangled, breaths sinking in the quiet. His head on my chest, my fingers in his hair, the rain a soft lullaby. "This changes everything," he said softly, tracing circles on my skin. I didn't know then how true that was, how one fender bender would upend my carefully guarded world. Morning came too soon, sunlight slicing through the blinds like a verdict. I woke to the smell of coffee and Alexander in the kitchen, phone pressed to his ear, voice clipped. "Yeah, handle the claim, total loss on the Civic. But the Audi's minor." He hung up, turning with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Hey, you sleep okay?" "Yeah." "You?" Patted over, stealing a kiss that lingered, his stubble rough against my palm. He pulled back gently, pouring me a mug. Like a rock. But work calls. Big deposition today. There was a hesitation, a flicker of something unspoken. Listen, last night was incredible, I finished, heart thudding. Don't overthink it, he nodded, but as he dressed, crisp shirt, tie knotted with precision, the distance crept in. We exchanged numbers over eggs and toast, promises of drinks later that week hanging in the air like smoke. I left with his hoodie zipped over my shirt, the city buzzing back to life outside. Brooklyn welcomed me with its familiar grit, graffiti-tagged stoops, the eternal construction on Atlantic Avenue. My apartment was a mess, sketchpads strewn across the futon, takeout containers from last night's solo binge. Collapsed, replaying the night in loops, the crash, the kiss, the way he'd gasped my name. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not as the quiet gay kid who'd hidden in plain sight since high school, but as Mason, whole and wanted. Texts pinged throughout the day, Audi's drivable. Dinner Friday, my reply was instant. Hell yes. We messaged back and forth. Silly memes about bad drivers, his dry wit cutting through my sarcasm like a knife through butter. By Thursday, I was pacing, nerves jangling like keys in my pocket. Friday arrived with autumn crispness, leaves skittering across Washington Square Park where we met. Alexander looked edible in chinos and a wool coat, carrying a bottle of red under one arm. For after, he said, kissing my cheek like it was routine. We wandered the village, hands brushing, then linking as dusk fell. Dinner was Italian in the West Village, pasta twirled on forks, wine flowing, stories spilling. He confessed his ex, a woman from law school who'd left him questioning everything. I admitted the fumbling hookups in my 20s, the fear of labels in a city that preached acceptance but whispered judgment. Back at his place, it was slower this time, reverent. We explored each other by candlelight, laughter mixing with moans, his body arching under mine like a wave cresting. Stay, he whispered post-climax, arms slung over my waist. I did, dreaming of futures neither of us had named. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Stolen lunches in Central Park, nights tangled in sheets, mornings with his head on my pillow. He met my ragtag friends at a dive bar in Bushwick, Jake the bartender ribbing him about fancy lawyers, Sarah eyeing him with protective skepticism. I met his colleague, a sharp-tongued paralegal named Theo, over drinks at his firm's holiday mixer. Alexander's hand on my knee under the table felt like a secret vow. But cracks formed, subtle at first. Late calls from work, his phone buzzing with texts he silenced too quickly. Clients, he'd say, but his jaw would tighten, eyes distant. I pushed it down, chalking it up to stress. The firm was gunning for a big merger, he explained, the kind that could make partner. One November evening, after a show at the Joyce Theater, his idea, ballet tickets he'd scored on a whim, we walked home arm in arm, steam rising from manholes. I love this, he said suddenly, stopping under a street lamp. You. Real. My chest swelled. Yeah. It is. I kissed him there, public and unapologetic, ignoring the double take from a passing cabbie. That night, as we made love with the windows open to the crisp air, I whispered against his skin, I could do this forever. He held me tighter, but in the dark, I felt the tremor in his breath, a warning I mistook for passion. Holiday lights twinkled early in the city, transforming Chelsea into a wonderland of red and gold. Alexander and I dove into it headfirst, ice skating at Bryant Park, where he laughed as I face-planted on the rink, pulling me up with a kiss that tasted like hot cocoa. Thanksgiving at my mom's cramped Queen's walk-up, where she grilled him on his intentions over turkey and pie, her Irish lilt warming even his guarded heart. "He's a keeper, Mace," she whispered later, squeezing my hand. For once, I believed it. Christmas Eve found us at his family's estate upstate, a sprawling Victorian in the Hudson Valley, snow blanketing the grounds like forgiveness. I'd been nervous, packing my one decent sweater, but Alexander's mom, Eleanor, enveloped me in hugs scented with Chanel, while his dad, a retired judge with a bark softer than his bite, clapped my shoulder and muttered approval over scotch. His sister, Lila, a fiery photographer from LA, pulled me aside during eggnog toasts. "He hasn't brought anyone home since college. You're special, Mason." That night, in the guest room with its four-poster bed and crackling fire, Alexander made love to me like he was etching promises into my soul. "I want this always," he breathed, our bodies slick and synced. You and me against the world. New Year's dawned with resolutions unspoken. More time, deeper truths. But January brought the cold snap and the chill in our conversations. Alexander's hours stretched, depositions bleeding into weekends. "It's the merger," he'd say, collapsing beside me with takeout, exhaustion carving lines around his eyes. I'd massage his shoulders, feeling the knots like secrets he wouldn't share. One blizzard-riddled night, I waited up in his loft, sketchpad idle on my lap. The door clicked at 2 a.m., and he stumbled in, Tyascu, scotch on his breath. "Sorry, babe." Ran long. I pulled him close, but he stiffened. "Everything okay?" "Fine. Just Theo's pushing for that promotion. Thinks I'm slacking." His laugh was hollow. Theo, the charming colleague, always at mixers with a wink and a quip. I caught him eyeing Alexander once, a look too lingering for friendship. We fought for the first time the next week, over nothing and everything. I accused him of pulling away. He snapped about pressure. "The firm's glass ceiling for guys like us. What does that even mean?" I demanded, voice cracking in the echoing loft. He deflated, raking hands through his hair. "It means I'm scared, Mason. It's everything, but the partners. They're old school. And my dad." He trailed off, the vulnerability raw. I crossed the room, cupping his face. "We'll face it together." We made up on the rug, slow and healing, his apologies murmured against my skin. Spring unfurled like a promise. Cherry blossoms in the Botanic Garden, where we picnicked with cheap wine and dreams. Alexander surprised me with a weekend in the Hamptons, his firm's perk, a borrowed beach house. We drove out in my newly repaired Civic. He'd insisted on covering it. Windows down, his hand on my thigh as Bruce Springsteen blasted. "Boss knows New Jersey grit," he grinned, singing off-key. The house was all glass and waves, isolation a luxury. Days blurred. Surfing lessons where he wiped out spectacularly. Evenings on the deck with sunsets bleeding pink into the sea. One afternoon, as we lay on the sand, salt-crusted and sated from a morning swim, he turned to me. "Marry me." My heart stopped. What? Not now. Someday. When it's right. His fingers laced with mine, ringless but heavy with intent. I love you, Mason. More than the fear. Tears pricked my eyes. I love you too. Always. Back in the city, life pulsed with possibility. I landed a freelance gig designing album covers for an indie label, my portfolio blooming under Alexander's encouragement. He aced the merger, toasts at the firm celebrating his killer instincts. Theo clapped him on the back a beat too long, but I dismissed it, drunk on our bubble. Yet shadows lingered. Late texts again, his phone face down during dinners. Work, he'd sigh, but once I glimpsed a name, Evan, flashing before he silenced it. Old client, he explained, too quick. Jealousy gnawed, irrational and ugly. I confronted him one rainy April evening, after he'd canceled our anniversary plans, 6 months since the crash, for an emergency meeting. Is it Theo, or someone else? Just tell me. His face crumpled. Jesus, Mason, no. It's the stress. The board sniffing around for dirt on everyone. He pulled me into his arms, and I melted, hating my doubt. We spent the night reaffirming, bodies a bridge over the growing rift. May brought warmth and warnings. Lila visited, crashing at my place while shooting a series on queer artists in the village. Over beers on my fire escape, she fixed me with her artist's gaze. Alex is different with you, happier. But he's always hidden parts. Dad's expectations. They run deep. I nodded. The crashes echo a distant thunder. He's opening up. She smiled sadly. Hold on tight. That weekend, Alexander took me to a gala at the Met, black tie. His hand steady on my lower back as we navigated marble halls and champagne flutes. Heads turned. Whispers followed. Partner, silver-haired and avuncular, cornered us by the Egyptian wing. Hayes, who's this? Eyes raking me like an exhibit. My partner, Mason Riley, Alexander said, chin lifted, voice steel. The man chuckled, clapping his shoulder. Charming. But keep it professional, son. We like discretion. Alexander's grip tightened on my elbow as we walked away. In the coat check, he kissed me fiercely. Fuck them. You're mine. Summer scorched in, humidity thick as unspoken fears. We escaped to Fire Island for Pride Weekend, a riot of rainbows and revelry. Alexander danced with abandon on the beach, shirtless under string lights, his body pressed to mine as bass thrummed through the sand. This is freedom, he shouted over the music. And for a night, it was. But reality crashed back Monday, with a call from his dad. Heard about the gala. Careful. Alex, reputation matters. Alexander hung up, slamming his fist into the wall. A crack spiderwebbing plaster. I can't breathe in this city sometimes. I bandaged his knuckles, heart aching. Then let's get out. Travel. Start fresh. He kissed my palm. Soon, the betrayal brewed slow, like a storm over the Atlantic. It started with a forgotten jacket at the dry cleaners, his picked up by mistake when I grabbed mine. Inside pocket. A crumpled receipt from a Soho bar, dated 2 weeks back. 1 a.m. Tab for 2. Bourbon. Neat his drink. No big deal, I told myself, until the bar's name rang a bell. The spot Theo favored, per Lila's stories. I didn't ask. Instead, I buried it in sketches, lines bleeding into abstract fury. Alexander noticed, of course, curled around me that night, murmuring, "Talk to me. Just work." I lied, hating the echo of his excuses. The climax hit on a sweltering July 4th. Fireworks boomed over the East River as we hosted a rooftop barbecue at his building. Friends, grill smoke, laughter masking the fracture. Theo arrived fashionably late, all smiles and craft beers, slinging an arm around Alexander in a bro hug that lingered. I watched from the railing, beer warm in my hand, as they whispered, heads close, Alexander's laugh too genuine. Later, as bottle rockets popped, I pulled him aside in the stairwell. "What's with you and Theo?" He blinked, feigning confusion. "What? He's a friend. The bar. The late nights." "Don't bullshit me." My voice broke, the city lights blurring through tears. Alexander's face drained. "Mason, it's nothing. Show me your phone." The demand hung, ugly and necessary. He hesitated, then handed it over. Password my birthday, a gut punch. Texts from Theo scrolled. "Missed you last night. Come over? We need to talk about us." Heart emojis, timestamps syncing with his work alibis. The world tilted. How long? Months. It started as stress relief, I swear. But it's over. You're the one. I shoved the phone back, chest caving. Over? While I'm planning our life, fireworks exploded overhead, mocking the shatter inside. I stormed down the stairs, the party noise fading to a roar in my ears. He caught me in the lobby, grabbing my arm. "Mason, please. I fucked up. Let me fix it." I wrenched free, rain from an unexpected shower slicking my face, or were those tears? "You rear-ended my heart that night. Now it's totaled." The doorman stared as I hailed a cab, the city swallowing me whole. Brooklyn hasn't changed. Same stoops, same sirens, but I have cracked open like the skyline at dawn. The apartment echoes with absence. No Alexander's cologne on the pillows, no half-read briefs on the counter. I ghosted everyone. Friends' pity texts unread, work deadlines met in feverish isolation. Nights blur into Netflix marathons and whiskey neat, his drink mocking me from the cabinet. A week post-betrayal, Lila calls. "Alex is a mess." Showed up at my hotel, drunk, begging for advice. Says he loves you. Tell him love doesn't cheat. My voice is gravel, scraped raw. She sighs. He's scared of the firm, his family, himself. But that's no excuse. You deserve better. I hang up, curling into the futon, the crash replaying, tires screeching, his eyes in the rain. Was it fate or just a glitch? Work pulls me out, barely. The label gig expands, a full album for a queer folk duo, lyrics about lost loves that gut me daily. I pour it into designs. Fractured hearts in watercolor, vines reclaiming ruins. My boss, a tattooed dyke named Riley, notices. Rough patch? Channel it, this covers fire. One evening, sketching in a Washington Heights cafe, I spot him across the street. Alexander, waiting at a crosswalk, looking hollow-cheeked in the fading light. Our eyes meet through traffic. He steps forward, then hesitates as the light changes, swallowed by the crowd. I bolt to the bathroom, splashing water on my face, breath ragged. Not yet. The confrontation comes unbidden. 2 weeks later. I'm at the gym, pounding the treadmill to outrun ghosts, when he appears in the lobby, gym bag slung over his shoulder, like he belongs. Mason. I freeze. Towel mid-swipe. How'd you, Jake? Said you needed space, but I can't. His eyes are red-rimmed, suit rumpled from a day in court. 5 minutes. Please. We end up on a bench by the Hudson, dusk painting the water gold. He spills it all. The merger pressure. Theo's advances blurring lines after too many drinks. It was escape, not emotion. Stupid. Selfish. I ended it, fired him as my second, even. But losing you, it's killing me. I stare at the joggers, the ferries chugging by. You made me believe in us. Then you torched it. I know. His hand hovers near mine, then drops. I'll fight for this. Therapy, time, whatever you need. Anger flares, hot and familiar. Time? You had months to choose me, but beneath it, the ache, the love that lingers like bruise. We part with a tentative coffee date, boundaries sketched in fragile ink. I go home, journal spilling confessions. I miss his laugh, his touch. But trust, shattered glass. Rebuilding is jagged. Coffee turns to walks in the park, where we talk without touching. His childhood in Philly's stiff upper lip world. My mom's fierce love after dad bailed. He starts therapy, shares snippets, unpacking closets, literal and figurative. I join a support group for queer folks navigating betrayal, voices echoing my isolation. One night, after a gallery opening in Soho, my designs on display, vulnerable as skin, he waits outside, flowers in hand. Proud of you, he says, and the wall cracks. We kiss in the alley, tentative, tasting salt and second chances. It's not forgiveness, but a foothold. Back at his place, slow, my pace we rediscover, whispers over scars, bodies remembering rhythms. I'm all in, he vows, and for a moment, I believe. Summer wanes, conflicts simmering. His firm whispers, rumors of the gala, Theo's bitter exit stirring pots. A partner pulls him aside. Discretion, haze. Or the partnership's off. He comes home shaken, pacing. They want me to tone it down. Date women for show. Rage boils. Fuck that. We're not hiding, he nods, but doubt flickers. It's my career, our future. I snap. Or yours. The fight erupts. Words like shrapnel. His ambition a cage. My insecurity a chain. I can't lose everything for this, he yells, then crumples. But I can't lose you. We sleep apart. The bed a chasm. Autumn leaves fall like warnings. Lila mediates over brunch. Her lens capturing truths we dodge. Love's not easy, but it's worth the fight. She shows photos from her shoot. Us at Pride. Unguarded joy. Inspired, I propose a road trip, escape the city's vice. We drive west, Civic humming toward the Finger Lakes, playlists of Springsteen and Hozier. Stops blur, wineries in Seneca, hikes where we hold hands unashamed. One night, under stars by Keuka Lake, bonfire crackling, he turns to me. I quit the firm. Or rather, negotiated partner track, but on my terms. No more hiding, tears sting. You did that, for us. His kiss is fierce, Sealing packs. Back in New York. Reinvigorated. We face the board together, him in suit, me in solidarity at the lobby cafe. Whispers fade. His work ethic silences doubters. Holidays approach. Tentative plans. Joint family dinner. Rings unspoken but imagined. But betrayal's ghost haunts. A leaked email from Theo surfaces, vindictive, alleging favoritism, twisting their affair into scandal. The firm investigates. Alexander's suspended pending review. Reporters sniff. Tabloids hungry for queer drama. He spirals. Nights pacing. Scotch his crutch. This is my fault. Dragging you into my mess. No, I counter. Holding him through shakes. We fight together. The climax crests in a boardroom showdown. Alexander, unflinching, lays it bare, his truth, his love, his refusal to compartmentalize. I'm gay, partnered, and damn good at my job. Take it or lose me. Silence. Then applause from an unexpected ally, a junior partner, out himself. They reinstate him, with caveats, but the victory tastes bittersweet. Theo's ousted for good, his lies crumbling under scrutiny. Winter grips the city, but warmth blooms between us. Christmas at the estate. Eleanor's embrace tighter, his dad's nod profound. Proud of you, son. Lila gifts us a framed photo, the crash site, reimagined as art, bent metal into hearts. New Year's Eve. Rooftop under fireworks. Alexander drops to one knee. Mason Riley, you crashed into my life and made it whole. Marry me, sobbing, laughing. I yes him. Ring sliding cool on my finger, simple platinum, engraved with our date. Spring 2026 thaws the frost, mirroring our slow mend. The wedding planning is a whirlwind. Venue hunts in the Catskills for that rustic American vibe, invites blending our worlds, Brooklyn bohemians with Philly polish. Alexander's meticulous, color-coding spreadsheets. I'm the chaos, vetoing tuxes for linen shirts and wildflowers. It's us, I insist, kissing flour off his nose during cake tastings. But undercurrents pull. His therapy uncovers roots. A college coming out met with conditional love, fueling his fear of loss. Mine reveals abandonment echoes, dad's exit teaching love is fleeting. We navigate with brutal honesty, date nights turning confessional. I worry you'll leave when it's hard, he admits over dim sum. I'll stay, I vow. But call me on the bullshit. Theo's shadow lingers, a countersuit for defamation, dragging old wounds public. Paparazzi lurk outside the courthouse, flashes blinding as we exit hand in hand. No comment, Alexander snaps, shielding me. That night, media spins, lawyer's lover scandal rocks firm. Hate mail floods, slurs scrawled on our door, voicemails venomous. It breaks him first. Curled on the couch, he whispers, am I worth this? The hate, the risk. I straddle his lap, fierce. You're worth every fight. We're building something real, human, messy. Ours. The suit settles out of court. Theo slinking to DC with tail tucked. Victory lap. A vow renewal ceremony. Just us and a officiant on a Montauk beach at dawn. Waves crash as we reaffirm. Salt on our lips. Rings kissed. Summer swells with life. My label contract goes full-time. Alexander mentors queer law interns. His story a beacon. We adopt a rescue mutt, Finn. All wagging tail and sloppy kisses, our family expanding. Weekends in the Hamptons evolve. Not escape, but recharge. Bonfires where we dream aloud. Kids someday. Via surrogate. A house upstate. Space to breathe. Yet conflict simmers eternal. A firm retreat in the Berkshires tests us. Partners probing. Veiled digs at lifestyle choices. Alexander bristles. Retreating into workaholic mode. Back home. I call him out. You're armoring up again. Let me in. He deflates. I hate feeling like the token gay. You're not. You're Alexander, brilliant. Mine. We therapy tag team. His counselor praising our resilient attachment. Fall paints the city amber. Wedding 3 months out. Lila shoots our save the dates. Us on the Brooklyn Bridge. Windswept and grinning. The skyline our witness. Mom cries over fittings in her queen's shop. Pinning my suit with trembling hands. Your dad would have loved this, she says. I nod. Throat tight, forgiving ghosts. The bachelor party is low-key. Jake's bar crawl. Ending in a speakeasy where Alexander surprises me. Crashing the straight vibe in a kilt. Friends roaring approval. His speech slurs sweet. To Mason, the collision that saved me. Mine's tear-streaked. To us, the story still unfolding. November chills, but anticipation warms. Rehearsal dinner at his parents'. Toasts flow. Eleanor's speech a tearjerker. You boys remind us love's the bravest choice. His dad pulls me aside. Gruff. Take care of him. He's my world. The day dawns crisp. November 28th. Venue. A barn in Woodstock. Beams draped in lights. Aisles of pine needles. I pace the bridal suite. Grooms. Whatever. Finn at my heels. Bowtie askew. Jake adjusts my boutonniere. Smirking. Nervous. Terrified. Ecstatic. The crash flashes. Rain. Rage. Revelation. This is the rewrite. Music swells. An acoustic cover of Atlantic City. Our song. I walk the aisle alone. Eyes locked on Alexander at the altar. Tux sharp. Eyes shining. Vows exchange. Voices steady. In chaos and calm. I choose you. Rings seal. Kiss erupts, cheers. Confetti. The world blurring to us. Reception's a blur. Dances, his mom cuts in. Twirling me tipsy. Cake smash, I get him good. Frosting in his lashes. Speeches that gut punch Lila's montage of our year. From Fender to forever. We slip away at midnight. Barn doors creaking shut on revelry. Driving to a cabin nearby. Honeymoon's domestic bliss. Snow falling soft. Fireplace roaring. Bodies entwined like roots. Husband, he murmurs, tracing my ring. The word undoes me. Back in the city, married life settles like dust motes in sun. We merge leases, his loft hours, my sketches on walls, Finn's toys underfoot. Holidays blend. Christmas in Queens, New Year's in Philly, families meshing like puzzle pieces long separated. But humanity's arc bends, not breaks clean. January brings Alexander's promotion, managing partner, youngest ever, but with it, relocation whispers, Chicago office, a year to prove loyalty. It's temporary, he says over dinner. Fork paused. Builds our nest egg, panic spikes. A year apart? After everything, we'd visit. FaceTime. It's for us kids. Security. I push back, voice rising. Or it's you running from the city's glare again. The argument stretches days. Silences at breakfast. Slept back-to-backs. Therapy mediates. Fear of loss. His counselor notes. We compromise 6 months. Me freelancing remote. Visits monthly. Departure guts us. Airport kiss lingering. His flight boarding as I clutch Finn's leash. Love you, he calls, voice cracking. Months stretch elastic. Calls at dawn his time. Packages of NYC treats shipped west. I thrive solo show at a Bushwick gallery. Designs lauded, but ache constant. Bed too vast. Climax crests in May. Surprise visit. Him at my door post shift. Duffel dropped. Couldn't wait. We collide. Months melting in frenzy. But revelation waits. Over wine. He confesses the real pull. Theo's networked in Chicago. A fresh start veiled as opportunity. I needed distance from the noise. Betrayal's echo stings. But softer now. No more secrets, I demand. None. Vow renewed. He extends stay. Promotion deferred. Summer heals. Pride parades hand in hand. Vacations reclaiming joy. Autumn 2026 circles back. Leaves a metaphor for shedding old skins. The city hums indifferent, but our rhythm deepens. Mornings tangled. Coffee shared black. Evenings sketching while he preps briefs. Finn snoring at our feet. We volunteer at a queer youth center. Alexander mentoring legal clinics. Me leading art workshops. Pouring our scars into service. Humanism our quiet rebellion. Thanksgiving gathers us. Expanded table. Mom's stuffing mingling with Eleanor's stuffing. Rivalry quelled by wine. Toasts to resilience. Lila announces her engagement. Our joy mirrored. To collisions that create, she quips. Winking. Winter whispers change. Fertility consults. Surrogacy dreams sketched in doctor notes. Our family, Alexander says. Hand on my knee during ultrasounds, hope fragile as frost. Spring 2027 blooms verdant. My career crests. A book deal for crashed hearts. Illustrations of queer love's fractures and fixes. Launch parties packed. Friends. Family. Strangers nodding to our story. Alexander's speech steals breaths. Mason taught me love's not possession. It's partnership. Through wrecks and rebuilds. Summer solstice. We retreat to the Hudson Valley cabin. Anniversary gift to selves. Days hike wild trails. Nights stargaze naked on quilts. One eclipse evening. Fireflies dancing. He turns philosophical. That night, the rain, the rage, it was the universe's nudge. Without it, I'd be half alive. I trace his scars, literal from a boyhood fall, figurative from us. And I'd be sketching alone, wondering. Fall brings harvest. Positive test from our surrogate, a boy due in winter. Names debated over cider. Elias, after his grandfather, strong, enduring. But life's drama peaks unscripted. November gale downs power lines. Alexander stranded upstate for a trial. Me alone as contractions tease early. Panic flares. Texts frantic. His voice calm. Breathe. Love. Help's coming. Storm clears. He races back. Hand in mine through false alarms. We're ready, he soothes, even as fear etches his brow. Christmas Eve. Labor true. Hospital rush. His grip iron through hours of sweat and screams, hers. Mostly, Saget's strength humbles. Elias arrives at 3:17 a.m. December 25th, tiny, furious, perfect. Alexander cuts cord. Tears streaming. I cradle him first. Our son. eyes like storm clouds. Homecomings chaos. Midnight feedings. Diapers daisy-chained. Sleepless. We trade shifts, his lullabies off-key. My sketches of chubby fists. Friends rally. Lila's portraits. Jake's casseroles. Mom's endless knits. Parenthood reshapes. Alexander softens. Boardroom bark traded for babble. I ground. Art yielding to onesies. Conflicts minor now. Diaper debates. Sleep thefts resolved in whispers. Growth our glue. 1 year post-Elias. Baptism in a sun-dappled chapel. Not for faith but family. Godparents Lila and Jake vowing fierce. Picnic follows. Elias gurgling on a blanket. The Hudson flowing eternal. Climax's echo fades. We've crested. Alexander's firm evolves. DEI initiatives his legacy. Queer partners rising. My book tours Midwest. Tales of us inspiring. Betrayal, a chapter closed. Wisdom etched. Summer 2028. Beach House Redux. Elias toddles sands. Us watching. Hands linked. Our story, Alexander murmurs. Kissing my temple. Still writing, I reply. Heart full. Humanism's grace. Love as verb. Imperfect. Enduring. From rear end to redemption. We've crashed. Burned. Rebuilt not flawless, but fiercely ours. In America's vast tapestry, New York's grit, our quiet revolutions we stand, unbowed. The end? Not. Just the dash before the next bend.